Welcome to Mountain Mom Strong's early postpartum program, the first 6 weeks. Today we're going to be doing a combination of breath and pelvic floor and core connection work along with some strengthening for the glutes. We're going to move up off the floor and we're going to get into some squats and hinges and picking up and putting down baby because it's really functional. You've been doing a lot of that, and we're going to make sure you're doing it properly so you can save your back. So today we're going to need a ball, a loop band, and a longer band there. So let's just start out with a little bit of breathing. We're gonna sit in this 90-90 position here. So my front knee's bent, my back leg's bent, my foot's pointing behind. I'm gonna wrap the band around my rib cage just to get a little bit of feedback, making sure I'm breathing into my ribs and into my back. So in this position, I want you to think about keeping equal weight, not just rocking onto this one because it's uncomfortable. We're getting a little bit of internal hip rotation here, so really sit into this. If you're not feeling anything, you can bring your legs out more into this 90-90 and you're gonna feel that a little bit more. So do what's comfortable for you, but you wanna feel a little bit of a stretch there. So band around the ribs. We're gonna inhale and expand. 360 into the back, the belly, and the ribs. And then exhale, lift pelvic floor, engage core. Inhale, expand and relax. Exhale, lift and engage. Inhale, expand and relax. Exhale, lift and engage. If the band's too high, you might not feel your ribs expanding, so make sure they're down the sides of the ribs there. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Good. Let's switch on over to the other side and see how the sides feel, how one side feels quite a bit different. Again, sitting into both hips, not just one. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. 5 breaths here. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Inhale, expand. Exhale, engage. Inhale, expand. Exhale, engage. One more here. Inhale, expand. Exhale, engage. Let's lose the band here, and we're going to do a little bit side body breathing and getting into this hip a little bit more. So I'm going to lean on this hip, inhale and extend over my head. Inhale, you can rotate a little bit, and exhale, relax. Inhale, expand. Exhale, relax, sink into this hip a little bit more. Inhale, expand. Reach, exhaling, sink into it and relax. One more. Inhale, expand. And sink into it. Good. Let's go back over to the other side. And we're going to lean into this back leg, reach up and over. Inhale, expand. Exhale, sink into it. Inhale, expand. Exhale, sink. So I'm feeling some internal hip rotation here. Internal hip rotators keep breathing there. We get really tight and they're trying to provide stability in the pelvis throughout pregnancy. So we want to get that back. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift in, or just relax. Sink into it. One more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, relax. Good. So a little bit of breathing, a little bit of opening. We're going to get down onto our back now. And we're going to grab the ball and we're going to place it between our legs. So we have 90 degrees. You're going to have your feet up on the edge of a couch or a bench because we are going to be pushing down and lifting up off of that today. So my feet are about hip width there. And we're going to inhale. And we want to kind of create a bit of tension on the back of our hamstrings. So push in just a little bit gently. Let's just do a few breaths here. Inhale, feel that back expansion, ribs, and the belly. Inhale, expand. Exhale, squeeze the ball, lift pelvic floor and engage. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually lift our hips up off the ground. So let's get a little posterior pelvic tilt here. And so to ensure that we're really using our core, we're gonna inhale, expand. Exhale, lift pelvic floor, engage core. Push the heels into the ground and lift off gently. Glutes should be relaxed. This is all hammies. Inhale, expand and relax. Exhale, lift and engage. Little lift. Inhale, relax. So the pelvic is tilted back to get that back body expansion. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Hovering off the ground just like 2 inches. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Sipping up. Inhale. Exhale. Lifting up. Bring your arms over your head. We're going to reach our hands over our head now. You can start with one arm at a time. Let's push one hand into our arm or into our opposite leg as we reach one arm over our head. So inhale, expand and relax. Exhale, lift and engage, push, reach that arm over. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage, squeeze, and push over. Might need to get a little closer to be able to push into that leg. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. So no flaring at the ribs. Switch sides. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. 2 more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, squeeze the ball, lift pelvic floor, extend the arm over the head on that exhale. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze. Good. So we're activating deep core, but we're also getting those hamstrings back online there. So let's exhale, press up, and we're going to go over onto all fours. We're going to move away. Last day we had our feet against the wall, but let's take the ball and place it between our knees just to get a little bit more pelvic floor engagement here. And we're gonna just be lifting our arms again. So we're gonna inhale, exhale, engage core, squeeze the ball. Notice how as I squeeze the ball, my one knee lifts off the ground and my arm goes out. Inhale, remember expansion in the back. Exhale, squeeze the ball. You're almost just unweighting your knee as you reach one arm up. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift pelvic floor, squeeze ball. Just hover that knee off the ground or unweight it. Inhale, exhale. If it's hard switching arm to arm, you can stay on the same side. I just automatically went into switching, but you can stay. Let's do a couple on the same side. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Same side. Exhale, lift and engage. Find that engagement. Then gently lift that knee off the ground as you squeeze into the ball and reach and float the arm up. 2 more here. So lots more engagement in the core. Other side. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Two more. Inhale, expand. Pelvic floor and core, squeeze the ball. So that knee's just lifting off the ground so you can squeeze the ball. So it's barely lifting off the floor. I don't know if you can see better from the front. I'll put my hands a little wider. But it's only because I'm squeezing into the ball that my knee's coming off the ground. Nice work. Let's take the ball away and we're gonna continue working on the leg extensions. So hands are on the ground, knees under hips, hands under shoulders. Push away, get that serratus on. We're gonna inhale, expand, 360. Exhale, lift and engage. Extend that leg and you can float it out if that feels good. Reach long through your heel. Inhale, expand. Exhale, engage and lift. Feel the glute here on my right, lifting and extending that leg out. You're really going to be pushing down with this right wrist into the floor. So you can kind of almost even think about that. Exhale, push the hand in the floor. Other side. Push the left hand in. If you're really wobbly, keep that toe on the ground. If you want more of a challenge, really lengthen through that heel. 2 more. Let's try a couple where we alternate our legs. If it's too much, stay to singles. Inhale, expand. Exhale, engage. Inhale, expand. Exhale, engage. Other side. Inhale, expand. Exhale, engage. And once more to the other side. Nice. Let's just roll those wrists out a little bit. So we're going to go back down and get those glutes going. We're going to go back to that glute glide that we did last week because I love it. You're going to see some progression from last week, I'm sure. So band just above the knees on the thighs. We're going to get down 90 degrees at our knees and hips. Support your head here. Open up so your legs are parallel to the ground. We're going to have a little bit of space between the bottom ribs here. We're going to reach forward. Inhale, and then exhale. Zip it up, lengthen, glide it back. Inhale, reach that knee beyond the other knee, and then exhale, pull it back in front of the other knee. Inhale, reach it beyond. Exhale, pull it back. My toes don't really, I kind of rock between my heels and my toes here. As I reach forward, my heel comes off. That's okay. Then exhale. So we're connecting our core with our glutes firing. Really important to do on the ground before we get up. Inhale, reach it forward. Exhale, glide it back. Inhale, reach it forward. Exhale, glide it back. Probably feeling a little burn there. If you're not, you can press pause and keep going. Roll over to the other side. So 90-90 here. Make myself a nice little pillow. And I'm going to get my foot or my thigh parallel, so my heel up a little bit more. And I'm going to inhale, reach the knee forward. Exhale, find that length in this back pocket. Inhale, reach it forward. Exhale, back. Remember side body expansion and not just belly. Exhale, zip it up. Inhale, reach it forward. Knee beyond the other knee, a couple inches. Exhale, glide it back. Inhale, reach it forward. Exhale, glide it back. One more. Inhale, reach it forward. A little bit of space between those bottom ribs and the floor. Exhale, pull it back. Whew, I can feel my glutes. All right, we're going to keep the band. I'm just switching over to the other side. We're going to do a little bit of strengthening of our internal hip rotators here. So we're going to move the band actually down to our ankles. And we're going to take our ball and place it between our knees here. We're going to have our legs bent. They don't have to be up at 90, so a little bit lower for sure there. And you can either be up on your elbow or you can lie all the way down, whatever's most comfortable for you. I think it's a little bit easier up on your elbow than it is lying down. So we're going to inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. And then we're going to reach this ankle up, pressing the ball into the knees, internally rotating the hip. Inhale, come down. Exhale, lift and engage, pulling up. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So we're connecting pelvic floor with these hip internal rotators and our breath. So inhale. If you're up in this position, make sure you're not sloped down. We're pressing up against the elbow. Our ribs aren't popping out. We're in good alignment. Good. Let's flip over to the other side. Once you start to feel a bit of a burn, there's this thing called the neural edge. If you kind of go beyond the neural edge and other muscles are starting to work for you, it's not good. You're going to create compensation patterns. So make sure that you're keeping good form, good breath, good control. And if anything of those change, then just stop, rest, jump back in when you're ready. So I'm going to inhale and then exhale. Inhale. Zip it up. Inhale. Inhale. And exhale, zip it up. Two more. Last one. And if you're like getting cramping, it's too intense, you can even do it without the band. That might be enough for you, and that is okay. All right, so we're gonna switch sides here. We're gonna place the ball between our knees. So we've done hip lifts with the ball. Basically, we're gonna do a hip lift, but it's gonna be kind of side plank. So we're thrusting our hips forward. So I'll try to get on an angle so you can really see my hips. So my ankles, my bum, and my hand are all in line, but my knees are out in front. I'm gonna inhale to prepare, and I'm gonna make sure I'm not sunken down here. So I'm lifted in my ribs. I got a nice stack here. I'm gonna inhale, full body 360 expansion. And then exhale, I'm gonna zip it up. So I'm lifting pelvic floor, engaging core. I'm squeezing into the ball to get that engagement. And then I'm gonna thrust my hips forward as I lift myself up. And then inhale, reach the hips down. Exhale, lift and engage. Inhale, set it down. When you lift up, your tummy, you shouldn't feel that it's like a ridge, so coning or doming. That's too much. Maybe we're not ready to get here, and we can come back to it in a little bit. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Drive the hips forward. Inhale, down. Exhale, lift and engage. Nice work. Inhale, reaching the hips back. So it's all about the hip thrust, that hip bridging, but without arching your back. Engaging the core and pelvic floor. Last one. Good. I'm gonna go over onto the other side. So we're up on our hand, so it's a little bit easier than being down on the floor on your elbows. That's a longer lever, a little bit harder. If it's really, really hard on your wrists, you can give it a try, but it might be a bit too hard for this stage. So ball between the knees, inhale, expand. Exhale, squeeze the ball, lift pelvic floor, engage core, and drive the hips forward. And you might be really segmenting things. Inhaling, starting your exhale, pelvic floor, core. Okay, now I can extend my hips. And that's fine. Things will flow a bit more as you practice. Inhale, expand. Relaxing pelvic floor. Exhale, lift pelvic floor. Engage core and bring hips forward. Inhale, relax and expand in the ribs. 4 more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, engage. Inhale. Last 2. And last one. Good. So our last exercise today is going to be a glute bridge with a pull down. So we're going to engage our core. We're going to work on keeping our ribs down. So I'm going to loop my band around my table here. We'll see if I got the good position. Ideally right behind you. I'm going a bit of an angle because my band's attached a little further down. So what we're going to do is we're going to remember everything we've learned about our hip lifts. let's grab our ball. Let's place it between our knees and just get some extra engagement in the pelvic floor and adductors there. So I'm going to inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift pelvic floor, engage core, weight through the heels, and I'm going to pull the band down. Inhale, set my hips down. Exhale. Try to make sure you have a bit of tension on the band. You're even right now when my arms are straight up. And then exhale, pulling down. If it's too much tension, that's okay. You can let go of a little bit. Inhale, expand. Relaxing pelvic floor. Lift pelvic floor, squeeze into the ball and extend the hips as you pull down. Let's do 4 more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift and engage. Last one. Be mindful of those ribs. As those arms go up, don't let yourself fall into that tendency. Keep the ribs down. That's why I wanted you to have a little bit of tension on the band so that you don't fall into that habit. Let's do 1 more. Inhale, expand. Exhale, lift pelvic floor, engage core, weight heels, pull down. Keep the ribs down as the arms go back up. Nice work. So now we're gonna stand up and we're gonna get into some hinges and squats. So first, let's start with the hinge. We're gonna stand with our feet just underneath our hips, and I'm gonna go sideways so you can see what's going on here. My hands are on my thighs, and basically I'm just pushing my hips back as my upper body counterbalances forward. So my shoulders are over my knees now. And then exhale, stand up. Inhale, feel that lengthening. Feel your butt cheeks coming apart, sit bones widening. Exhale, stand up tall. Inhale, and then exhale. So you should feel core coming on, our ribs are stacked over pelvis. We're not overextending or over squeezing into our glutes. We're reaching our hips back. And then exhale. Now let's pay attention to our feet. We don't want our feet to do this and round out. We want to be connected through our foot. So I really want you to think about this big toe and keep the big toe connected with the floor as you reach your hips back. So your weight is going to go into your heels, but we're keeping connection through that big toe. So inhale, we're going to reach back. And exhale, standing up. Inhale, reach back. Keeping connected through your foot. Exhale, stand up. 1 more. Inhale and exhale. So this is how we're going to put baby down. We're going to inhale, reach our hips back, place baby down, exhale, stand up. Inhale, go back. You're going to get as close as you can. Scoop baby up, close to you. Exhale, drive the hips forward. Inhale, baby down. Hinge, scoop baby up. So really moving at your hips every time. Brushing teeth. Picking up something like we're hinging all the time. Hinge, hinge. Don't round to go down. That's going to be so hard on your back. Okay? And then going into the squat. So the squat's very similar. So we're going to go a little bit wider. Toes are turned out, whatever's comfortable for your hips. And we're going to reach our hands forward as we reach our bum back. So I'm going to shift my weight and I'm going to start with that hinge, but then my knees are going to bend so my bum can lower down. Exhale, stand up. You can start with a bench behind you. Sometimes you feel a little safer. If you have a bench there, your brain will just feel safer. So we're going to reach our hips back as our arms go forward, bend the knees and lower down. Now, I don't want you to sit back on your sit bones. You're going to kind of be, if you're on a bench, kind of on the middle of your hamstrings. You need your weight over your thighs so that you can exhale and pull yourself up. Inhale, reach those hands forward. Hips go back, bend the knees, lower down. Exhale, come on up. Inhale, reach forward, bend the knees, exhale. So a lot of times people think, oh, I shouldn't bend my knees past my toes, but don't think about that. Hips go back, so we initiate with the hips, then the hips continue to move back as the knees come forward, and that's what allows the bum to come down. So you're thinking about your sit bones are pointing down to the ground. Hips go back, and then we're lowering down. So when we were on all fours, and we were reaching our bum back, that essentially is the bottom of your squat. So keep working on that. Keep thinking about how you're hinging when you're going to lift something up or squatting down to get something off the floor. Bring it close to your body and then stand up. All right, good work. Keep it up, and I'll see you in the next one.